You ever like to just play a deck where crazy stuff happens and it's also pretty good when it works, but it requires a lot of pieces to actually work? Well, if that hasn't sold you on this deck's viability, let's check out this deck, this build. It is absolutely insane when it works, and I think it's pretty darn amazing if you feel like just playing something else that isn't the standard rogues or Omnath, etc. nonsense. This is the deck for you. Let's jump in. This one is a doozy, and it gets kind of crazy not too quickly. So that's the only downside of this deck, is that your early game presence is very minimal, but once the deck starts popping off, it pops off. It gets nuts. And it all starts with Mr. Charming Prince, which means you know there's going to be all kinds of creature bouncing nonsense going on here, all kinds of shenanigans. So this deck revolves around bouncing your troops to get lots of extra value out of the cards themselves. So if you bounce something like a Solemn Simulacrum, you get an extra land on the field. If you bounce a Charming Prince, you get to scry or gain life, or bounce something else just for funsies. Whenever you're bouncing stuff, you can potentially bring them back as flyers. You know, when people die on your side, which then brings them back and makes them essentially bounce. So Luminous Broodmoth is also bouncing your troops, which is really fun. Thassa, of course, just bounces people every turn. And then you have thicky creatures that you can use. So the fun part about this deck is probably the most pop-off card in the deck is this Gyruda, Doom of the Depths, right? So you throw this down, it mills you and your opponent, and then of those 8 cards that were milled between the two of you, you get to pick a creature with even mana cost from either side and play it immediately on the battlefield, right? And this happens when Gyruda enters the battlefield. So what would happen if you bounced him? You'd get to do it again. And if you bounced him again, you'd get to do it again. So it gets kind of nuts. And then when you look at the even creatures that we have Kogla here, who when he just jumps out, he just destroys something just straight up. You also have a Dream Trawler, which, as we know, can just hit the board and just end the game, because what is the opponent going to do about your life-linking, hex-proofing, card-drawing Dream Trawler nonsense? It gets very complicated if you smack him onto the board. And the cards before that, so the reason there's a Lotus Cobra and a Tangled Florahedron here, it's really just for the ramp potential. Solemn Simulacrum helps as well. So these cards will help you get to these thicker things much faster, but what you really want to get is to the Gyruda. If you get to a turn where you have Thassa down and Gyruda, then you can start doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And Glasspool Mimic, of course, allows you to just create copies. So if you steal something sick from your opponent, you can make a copy of it. If you get something crazy down like a Kugla, you could potentially make a copy of it to smack something else, even though you only get to keep one, they're legendary. But you get to do this a lot. So it gets really, really fun, really chaotic, and you need to manage your triggers a little bit, because I've run into situations where I've recursively cast Gyruda like 5 times in a single turn and almost milled myself. So you have to watch out for that. But the deck can go absolutely bonkers, and it is hilarious. Let's check out the gameplay. Hope you enjoy. Going against El Rey. Play first, yes please. Hand with no lands, no please. This is... I mean, sure, we'll play this. Why not? Let's just see what happens. We got a scry land, so we can do some stuff. We don't need a ton of forests in here, and there's no way we're getting the mana to cast that anytime soon. So let's go ahead and play some cards. This will at least let us get a turn 3 Solemn Simulacrum down. So in theory, we could potentially sneak out a Dream Trawler, but it helps when you play the correct card. That's a plains. We needed a forest. Don't get lazy with your mana, everybody, because things like this happen. That's probably going to cost us the game. Let's find out. I'm almost tempted to not play the Cobra at this point. There was no point in playing the Cobra first and then the land. We couldn't do anything with the mana. But we're going to get ourselves a Simulacrum down. It's going to get us another land. We have to deal with this guy, which is fine. We're just going to go ahead and eat 6 to the face. We're on a sweet clock over here. Oh, we do get another Cobra. We could make another Cobra. That does nothing for us really, though. Sure. We're not planning on using that mana, unfortunately. Oh, lordy. There's gonna be some maintenance up in here, apparently. Let's see. We need another planes if Dream Trawler is gonna be a thing. So let's go ahead and pretend that Dream Trawler is gonna be a thing. Because next turn, we can get Mr. Trawler down on the field. And that's gonna really help us. Because even though this dude has reach, they're very motivated to just attack in with it. So that's going to be a-okay. A henge makes us cry a little bit, though. That's definitely not a good time. Can't say I'm a fan of that. And at this point, we might actually get the lands to play our turn timber. We're going to have to see how this goes. I completely blew it, though. We could have had Trawler out. Well, I guess it ultimately didn't change anything. I think we'd be about the same. Oh, they really want to hurt us. Okay. That's going to be a good time. Doesn't hurt our ability to get the Trawler out, does it? It does. No, we can slap that land down. Yeah. This is gonna hurt. We're gonna be in all kinds of pain and suffering next turn. If we slap this land down, if we get an untapped off the top, that helps a good amount. Because then we can just attack in free with the Trawler, grab the card. We're gonna have to sacrifice it to the Gem Razor this turn anyway, though. We get a Thassa. That's a thing. We do need to slap this down, throw down a Trawler. Nothing. Hold this back. Since this guy's got trample, we need to actually not get trampled to death. Let's see if they just Primal Might us and we die. Super possible. It's gonna be awesome, guys. This game was not a great demo of the actual deck and its gameplay, but this is what happens, and this is why we said in the intro, this is the kind of stuff that can totally happen with this deck, where you just kind of feel like you're doing a lot of nothing, and then something eventually happens. Oh man, is that game? Oh, that's straight up game. We throw him the heart, and then we say goodnight, good sir. That is plenty of damage there. Even with our lifelink, we weren't going to survive that. So we're going against mono green. Destroying target enchantment or artifact is potentially useful in this situation, actually. So I'm tempted to throw in some wilts. And if we're throwing some wilts, I say we take out at least one Florahedron and... I say we take out one Florahedron and one Turn Timber. You know what? No, I'll take in the Turn Timber, I'll take out a Cobra. I find the Cobra part of this deck to be not as exciting as it should be. But this is going to be where we pray we get a better hand. A hand with a Charming Prince in it and a Gyruda to ramp 2 is obviously our ideal scenario here. Or we'll see if we're going to take it back. Get to show off all that madness that this deck can actually do. It's going to be so good if it works. Play first. We get weird lands. We have things that we like, but we don't have anything. And we know this deck's coming in fast. I think we have to take this. We have a Scry land. Hopefully this can... Okay, we get another land. We're going to be able to get our Solemn Simulacrums down. We're going to be able to get Thassa down. We just have nothing to do with it yet. So let's just pray. I think we're going to play this tapped. So that way we've got 2 untapped sources coming down the next 2 turns in case we get anything super sweet we want to play. We just have a 2/2 to deal with. There's a Charming Prince. Let's go. Let's play the other land here. Get the Prince down. We're going to take this to Scry, although the life might have been useful. The ramp isn't awful, but we're going to be ramping with the Solemn Simulacrums anyway. So it's a little awkward. I think we take the Glass Pool here in anticipation of doubling Gyruda. Or doubling a Charming Prince. We can actually do things with that. But next turn is definitely Solemn Simulacrum. They're about to Primal Might through my guy. Yeah, sure are. Ugh. Poor Charming Prince, we barely knew thee. Don't you love it when your opponent just seems to have what they need all the time? Don't you wish your games of Magic played that way? Double green source. We only need that for the Kugla. And I think we're gonna try and cheat him out. The double white source helps us with the Broodmoth. Also potentially helps us with Dream Trawler later. So let's go ahead and do this. We have double blue, double white technically. I vote we get another blue down. That is my vote. It has been cast. I'm very willing to trade the Solemn Simulacrum at this point. If they attack in with the Serpent, I am more than happy to let it die to draw another card. That would be very exciting. And the nice thing about playing against this deck specifically is that we get to steal all kinds of great stuff with Garuda here. He's incredibly useful to us. Alright, tap land or ramp more? We need one more land. We could play the Glasspool Mimic, but I think we go with this. So that way, as we block, we get more card draw. This will also get us the land that we want. Technically only have 2 white sources. Let's go ahead and do that. This is fine. We don't attack because we are planning on getting beat the F up right here. A Harbinger. All right. So now we have a creature we absolutely need to respond to. The nice thing is that Garuda is a 6/6. Just one? Sure. I am very okay with eating it. Yes, we draw a card. I love how it asks, as if anyone would ever say no to that question. Who is being like, you know what? Nah, I don't want to draw a card. I mean, I guess if you're in the situation where you're about to mill yourself, but dear lord. Alright, Garuda time. Time to mill and steal some creatures. Wow. Wow! Look at us go, guys! There were so many creatures we could have pulled, and we milled 4 forests on their side. And what was it on ours? Mostly lands as well? Absolutely amazing. I just probably helped our opponent way more than they could possibly desire by removing all of those lands so they can get to more spells. It's incredible. So next turn, we're going to play a Thassa so we can bounce the Garuda, which is going to pay dividends. Basically, every turn, once we have Thassa down, we get to recast Garuda. And the fact that we have a 6/6 down really holds them in their tracks here. They can't attack in, which is amazing. And now we can chuck down a Kugla, actually, and just start blowing up their board. That is super attractive. I would much rather have a Luminous Broodmoth down first. I say we go ahead and we play this because that's super fun. Technically, if I slam this down, we could also play the Broodmoth here, which would allow us to chump block with the Garuda and then have it come back automatically, which I think is super worth it, actually. So let's go ahead and pay the life and play the Broodmoth. We're definitely not attacking, but we are going to bounce the Garuda and hopefully say hello to a creature we actually can use. Ooh, I saw creatures in there. We got at least one, and we got a Tangled Florahedron on our side. All right, so we'll slap down a Gemrazor. Super useful. So now, whenever we block, we bring them right back. So if we block with Garuda here, then we get to bring Garuda back as a flyer, just for funsies. But basically every turn at this point, we're going to be recasting Garuda and getting all that value. So even though they're getting a ton of value here, the moment we slam down Kugla, like, it's going to be nuts. We can constantly re-slam Kugla with Thassa. We can constantly re-slam it there. We're going to outvalue them pretty damn fast here. So if they don't start getting aggressive, like if they need a Primal Might for like 15 here. Oh, they're going to do something. Yep, there it is. That's a thick old Primal Might. Fortunately, they put it on a creature without trample, so we can kind of still block. We can just chump that Yorvo. It's not a big deal. And that's the only one that can safely attack in, so we just chump it. Super not an issue. You know what? We'll keep the land and we'll take the card. Give me the card. Alright, so now we can chuck down the Kugla, because we do need to start removing some of these threats. And then we're going to bounce the Garuda again. So let's take care of this guy. How satisfying is that? The answer is very. We also can make a copy of Kugla and do it again. I think that would be hilarious. Let's do that. Give me another Kugla. And do we slap the Yorvo? I think we slap the other Harbinger. Or do we just sacrifice it? No, I think we slap the... We want to keep board presence. We go next. We don't attack. We end the turn. We bounce the Garuda. We mill a Primal Might on their end, which is amazing. We can bring back another Thassa. That's whatever. We'll just bring out a Cobra. This should be good. Another one. It's so pointless. Let's go ahead and just do this fun thing. We're going to go ahead and make ourselves another Kugla and destroy their Yorvo. I almost wonder if they bounce here. I doubt they will. They shouldn't. But this is the best. Incoming. Ooh, I was kind of super afraid there. I was nervous that they might actually have a, what is it, a ram through. If they had a ram through, they could have stopped that straight up. We do take the card. We also have a backup Garuda at this point, so it's kind of like this whole casting recasting thing is just going to happen forever at this point, and it's great. We could definitely use this. We super don't need the land here. Super doesn't matter. Come on, Cobra. Doesn't matter. We're not using it. And we're not swinging in. And we are bouncing the Garuda. What are we? We got 28 to their 31. We're still good. Let's play the slot machine game yet again. Let's see who we get. Survey says... I see a Charming Prince on our side, which is great. You want to know why? Because we get to play the game again. The next turn we get to play the game again. This should be interesting. This should be interesting. Alright, so they're going to spend this turn to just cast one creature card, which is totally fine. That was actually probably the best way that that could have gone. It's a Gem Razor. Neat. Still can't get through our Garuda. Here comes Garuda. I see another Gem Razor on their side. Our side, we get yet another Thassa. We get, oh, there's a Dream Trawler. Neato. Whoop. Whoop. Guess who's alive, baby? Swinging on in. Oh, the opponent has seen enough. Amazing. Do we have any adjustments we need to make? The wilts are still useful. I think we're fine. I don't really want to bring in any mystical disputes here. Doesn't seem viable. But hopefully that game was an example of how much nonsense you could have. We were against a mono-green deck with a henge on the board, and we were still outvaluing, outscaling, casting more creatures than they were. So, and that wasn't even an ideal format. I've had it play out much better than that. Like, the fact that we missed so many times with Garuda against a mono-green deck is staggering to me. I think we had 3 different attempts, and we pulled basically nothing, which is nuts. We do have Wilt, but we only have 3 lands. This hand, not so great. That hand, way better. Way better. I say we chuck this and hope we scry our way into more lands. Charming Prince is incredibly good at this. And we do have a Lotus Cobra, a Fabled Passage. All right. So we're going to get a handful of creatures down with a Brood Moth, so that should help us survive a little bit. They decide to attack instead of pump. Interesting. Let's go ahead and get a green source down. I want the Charming Prince because we need to scry into something here. Another Simulacrum. As interesting as that is, we have too much ramp in our hand and not enough creature. Like, this hand as it stands is not going to get us. We need to, like, snake our way into a Garuda as quickly as we can. Yep. It's a thing. That happened. Let's see. I can play the Cobra, but I can't play anything else, which is a shame. Planes. Super doesn't matter. Do we attack in? No. Our win con is not kill them with little creatures. So they're tapping out. I am tempted to just sack the Lotus Cobra here. Well, then again, it literally prevents 1 damage because of the trample. We're on a little bit of a clock, as you can imagine. We do need to get the Brood Moth down so we can actually start chump blocking stuff. And if they don't get a land down, we can actually kill the Mammoth. So this at least creates a situation. If they have a Primal Might, this game is just over. They maybe still do. They don't. Cool. So attacking in with their Gem Razor. Oh wow, they're like hard tapped at this point. We have a problem anyway though. So let's see. Definitely chump 1 and then prevent as much as we can over there. We get them both back. Do we take the life? I think we take the scry. All right, Kugla. Can we even play Kugla next turn? He's a 6. Yeah, with the Fabled Passage and the Cobra, we can actually play Kugla. I don't know if that's going to be enough, though. We still have a lot of damage we're going to take here. But at least it gets us in the game. So we'll take 1 more green source. We pop this. We take literally any mana we so choose. We still only have 1 blue source, so let's snag another one of those. We have all 3 green, so this can be any color we want. Slap down a Kugla. Kugla can straight up kill this guy, which is great. No attacks. And the best part is that if we block with the Kugla, then we get to have it come back and refight something. So this just established dominance on the board in a big way. Broodmoth is going to do a crap ton of work here with the Kugla. Like, we basically stonewalled them completely at this point. And we have the Mimic combo where I can just make another copy of Kugla and have it destroy something else. So we might get complete control of this game right here. That might have been all we needed. The fact that they have a land is not enough, because we can still block one of those with Kugla. Ooh, they're gonna fight my guy? No, they just kill one. Cobra down. Okay. They should not attack in with confidence here. They're gonna do it anyway? Okay. They're gonna do it anyway. Do we take it here? Can I stop all of this? Really can't. So let's just block. We need to prevent as much of this as we can. I'm cool with losing one. A Mimic. Alright, so we can slap down another mammoth, which gets rid of all of their good creatures at this point. I think that's the play. Let's go ahead and make ourselves Kugla number 2. It's legendary, so we're not going to get to do that again. New Kugla stays. Beat the crap out of this guy. Then if we keep the new flyer, I haven't actually tried this before. How does that work? Just decline at that point. Oh, so we only get to kill 1. Mistakes were made. I kind of assumed that's how that would work. But such is life. Do we play it as a land? No. I mean, our Kugla is definitely still going to be able to slam through anyway. But that was a good interaction to watch because I learned something there as well. I was 99% sure that's going to be how it would play out. But we know that they have this dude in exile, which they're going to recast for sure. Deals damage equal to its power. So yeah, that's fine. We get to re-Kugla their mammoth with this mimic. So let's do that. This is ridiculous. If they don't start drawing into something better, they're going to have a lot of problems. In theory, I could have held this up and just attacked in with the Broodmoth just to get some damage in. But it's more fun to just keep slamming their creatures and destroy their will to live, isn't it? Isn't that just more fun? I think it's more fun. Let's have King Kong destroy somebody else. New Kugla. Destroy the mammoth. Make him hurt. Super fun. I say we get greedy and start putting in some damage. We gotta do it. Let's just pray that the card that they got is not a Primal Might, because I think that kills us. They're digging through their graveyard, so here comes this guy. Alright. So we've got that problem. It's a Lotus Cobra. Not necessarily the biggest deal. Do we Power Slam this guy? They have nothing in their graveyard at this point, so they're not going to be able to cast it. Ramping would be useful. They can't attack in without dying, so this creates at least a way for us to get some more card draw, so I think it's time we do this. We definitely take the land. I think we share the blue-white source, so let's do that. We don't attack. We end. We're very willing to sacrifice this Simulacrum. This is essentially just a very expensive draw 1 card. But if they get a Primal Might, we're like super done. And they're about to kill our Simulacrum, and we cry. And we lose because now we can't do enough. Unless we draw some card. Oh! Sadness. I think this mutated on top of something else. No, it's... yeah, here comes everything. We don't survive. We weren't able to get any Gyruda nonsense and shenanigans done with this deck. Woe is me, guys. But that is how this deck plays. Sometimes it's the nuts, and sometimes it's a dud. I think it's incredibly fun to play, if nothing else. I would not take it into the standard ranked queue, but it is hilarious. It is a fun change of pace. If you're looking to grind out your just daily quest nonsense, maybe this deck will be a fun way to grind it out for you. It is tricolor. But that is this deck. Hilarious, fun, enjoy, and I will see you in the next video. Love you guys. Mwah.